let's take a look at our map bans. Of course, 7-map pool makes it so there's only 1 map played in the end. And it's got to be Clubhouse, or we've been seeing a ton of Clubhouse. Understandable, though. Such a comfort pick for so many teams, right?
You know what I like about Clubhouse? When they're seeing all these teams that we're a bit uncertain on, that maybe we're worried might just turn out to be absolute fraggers. When you come to a map like Clubhouse, it's like putting a bunch of kids on the playground where there's a fence lining it, right? They have to play it a relatively certain way. It's quite checklist based. You have to go through these certain steps to do it. It's within safe confines is probably how I look at it. So you get a good flavor of, are these teams good at their strats? Are they good at their team coordination? But equally, can they click on heads at the right time? So I think you're going to see it all in this game between these two on Club.
Oh, look, I'm going to have to be a little bit of the benefit of the doubt here and say, Clubhouse, you can make it frag heavy if you play certain operators. And Seventh Heaven, also now known as Electrify, used to play a lot of Ying. So sometimes you could just cut the corners there, Des, and you go, the walls need to be open. We need to follow step by step. Nah, we just throw a Candela through the window. And I tell you what, that gets an entry if I've ever seen one.
And you should know all about that since you coached Hungary not too long ago. So completely understandable. So that part of the show done. I think it's time to listen to what people think about this match. Who do you believe will win this? Of course, you can go and vote on every single one of our matches. Got on Rainbow Six Esports APAC, and SCARZ going for the 62% to 38% from Electrify. So divided opinions here. It's completely understandable if you ask me, because at least you'll know who SCARZ are because they played in Korea before. Electrify, not as much. Of course, New Org and all. So people are just not familiar with it yet.
You want to go first, Jess?
Yeah, I think overall you can't underestimate what they did, and I think you broached on it before, was they brought the 2 teams that ended up in the finals for Chinese Taipei finals there, and they merged them together. I think it was Notorious and Seventh Heaven, and they went, here's our new super team from Chinese Taipei, enjoy. And well, I mean, you can't underestimate if they've thrown some of their best players together here. We actually cannot really give them any history here because, well, I mean, when you merge 2 rosters together, you're doing brand new things, brand new meta, brand new synergization and coordination. So I think we should see a little bit of surprise, but Clubhouse can be a tough one.
Yeah, it's a lot more to explore and go through, but those details are all for the casters. So let's go to Clubhouse with our last matchup of the day.
Oh, thank you, Gassan. I'm going to have to correct you a little bit, though, Jess. It's not just Notorious and Seventh Heaven that kind of merged. It's the entire region of Chinese Taipei that kind of merged in, because we had Seventh Heaven, which went 12-0 in the normal actual stages. And then Notorious was formed out of the rest of the teams that were in the actual league. And after the finals, they decided to, make one big giant super region team under the name of Electrify right now. Gio, welcome. I didn't give you an introduction yet.
Thank you very much. You know what? It's fine. I'm really excited about this game. Actually, they said at the beginning we don't know all that much about Electrify because it's not a region that everyone's super familiar with, and we haven't seen anything from them really. So this is the time for them to set in stone this identity. And you mentioned how, they got this insane, win differential when they were playing in the tournament that they were playing in, but also SCARZ won Korean Pro League. It could have been a bit of a fluke because they haven't had a hugely prolific history, but they did it anyway. So this is going to be a very, very interesting game. Straight away, Thatcher and Maverick are going to be going out. And actually, I think at this point, right, it's been 2 days. It has been 2 days, and already I'm thinking I could just, predict that these are going to be the bans
across the 2 regions as well. It's been consistent to see these 2 removed. Basically forced a lot of Kali play though, so I mean that's kind of good, to finally see that operator come into play, see it being utilized by the different amount of teams. And there we go, the Kite and Valkyrie also removed. Also, kind of normal bans to come through, but I think we're going to be seeing quite a lot of Kali to come down in these coming rounds, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we can definitely expect. It wouldn't be the first time that we've seen it so far over the last few days. Although, say that, and there is no Kali on the board straight up. Instead, they've picked the... I mean, you could hope for the 6th pick, but when you see the Monty, it's, not too crazy. Oh, Okay, wait, what?
Yeah, I was about to
All
say.
right.
Yeah, no, there we go. The
I
Kali
was
is a little more
like, pretty
logical one.
sure we can't play Ace yet. Yeah, so Kali is going to be coming out. Okay, so they're not going to be going for the Monty. I was thinking Church and Arsenal. It's feasible, I suppose.
Attackers
But
need
of
to
course,
locate and
as you
defuse
say,
bombs.
Kali, give them the opportunity to actually get rid of not just electrification, because obviously they're not bringing any this time, but you can use it on any number of those electronic gadgets that Thatcher would otherwise be used with his EMPs to get rid of.
Yeah, not even just the electronic gadgets. You can also use it on the shields, for example, to make sure that, for example, at his shields, or ED, I believe it should say, like his shields will just blow up. Same goes for the actual for the shield that just got put down there in blue. So it's basically just an explosive, which doesn't really do much damage to humans, but does a lot of damage to all the utility on the ground.
Yeah, so as long as they can actually get that to work, then that would be great. But of course, it's going to be something that's going to be watched out for. Now, one thing I do want to say is for those of you who are new to these teams, on the side of SCARZ, 2 players you want to be looking out for are Canos and Yas. They are pretty much their star players. In fact, Yas had a rating of 1.37 in the last season of Pro League and a kill death differential of plus 34. He also had an entry stat of plus 12, which is relatively unheard of to have someone who has an entry stat that high. So he's an incredibly effective player. And if Electrify have done their research, then they're going to be knowing that he is somebody seriously to be looking out for and that they need to have just constantly watched at all times to ensure that he can't take advantage of them as a team. But given that Electrify have such good results, on their resume, we don't know how their playstyle is. They're complete mystery, a complete enigma to us right now. It could be that coordination is just, the name of their game, and that'll be something very easy for them to deal with.
Now, I talked to with their coach, and he was like, they didn't really have high hopes for themselves. They kind of hoped they would be able to keep up with the teams, but they don't expect them to instantly start out with a win, for example. The only thing they said is we hope to not get blasted. So, if that's your mentality, it's kind of... I mean, it's easy to improve from there on, but I don't know, it does say that they have some doubts themselves, and I hope that they can take away those doubts themselves this game by actually putting up a good fight against SCARZ here.
It's kind of interesting because it's relatively humble, I suppose. Most teams are like, yeah, we're so confident. Well, SCARZ should be feeling confident with 11, who's going to be opening things up with that shot onto Ray. That gets rid of one of those key roamers and starts things off pretty well for them. But bear in mind, there's already less than a minute remaining of this round, and SCARZ have kind of barely entered in, starting to move down the dirt tunnel. We've got this grenade ready just in case of anyone at the end of the tunnel. Yes, he's just keeping an eye out. There you go. Down goes the shield. But there is a smoke ready and waiting. No more kills have come out just yet. There we go. There's one right as I said it, as Yas gets the shot onto Picasso. And that's still opening things up even more here for SCARZ. Electrify. 20 seconds remaining. Can they hold this defense?
And that is going to be the question. Kali's trying to hold off some long angles right here, but no one is going for a peek yet. It's going to be Canis to get an extra kill. That's going to be 2 more members alive. Make that one. It's only AD now as the plant's going down in the meantime from Revy. It's not going to be able to do anything about that. We'll be taken out even before the plant goes down. It's a flawless round from SCARZ onto this first round that will be played by both these teams in this new format, in this new league. The first time that all the APAC North teams and leagues are united into one. It's a very convincing way to start for SCARZ.
I think something that's very interesting about these two teams is we mentioned how Electrify is sort of this agglomeration of players from various different teams from the same region. But that means that they still need some time to mesh. They still need some time to figure out one another because it hasn't been that long since they were all separate teams. SCARZ, in the last few months, have been looking for new players. Actually haven't been able to pick up any. There hasn't been anyone they've been happy with. Whatever the reason may be, they're actually still running with the same roster that they've been running it with for quite a while. Which means that while there may be things that make them want to make changes to their roster, at the very least, they're all very, very used to one another. They know how each other work. They know intuitively what to expect from each other. That level of communication is going to be second nature to them at that point. And that could be something that really works out in their favor, especially on a map like Clubhouse, which is a little bit more strategical in the sense that, you know, you have to do this and this and this, and it sort of has a little bit less flexibility to it than other maps do. Having that solid understanding of one another, that rapport with one another, could be hugely beneficial to them.
Attackers are moving out to
Action phase 2 is underway. See if Electrify are going to be able to put themselves together. Are they going to be able to get their defense nailed this time, as SCARZ is probably going to be making loads of pace right here, loads of speed, trying to get into that map. Trying to put some quick pressure onto the members of Electrify. Maybe if they realize that they can be using this against them, going aggressive on their own for hiding until the very last second, setting yourself up to go for a potential flank, get them in the back as soon as they go for the execute. That could be a thing that would maybe be helping them out right here, because right now they're just all bunkering down on the site. And last time when that happened, it was SCARZ that just cleared them one by one by just simply taking these gunfights and forcing them into 1v1s. Electrify not really able to find a single one, so if it goes wrong now again, they will have to try and find something new. But if you look at the control that SCARZ is putting up, like, would a roam even work? Because normally people would be hiding up in the office or logistics, and well, there's someone up there as well, so you really got to find a way around all the control that SCARZ is putting up. And what would that be? Like, what could they do at this point?
Well, it's interesting because what it kind of looks like, just the way that Electrify are positioning themselves, and actually Flash evidently didn't position himself in a way conducive to survival. He's going down to Canos very early, and he was actually sight. So that's definitely not a good loss there for Electrify, but good things for SCARZ. But the point is, the way they're positioning themselves is very site-centric, and they're kind of hoping that as the fight gets brought to them, they can hold themselves up. But what's been happening so far is SCARZ have actually been able to get that early pick. That means by the time they reach the site, Electrify are already significantly weakened, and SCARZ can either get the plant as they did last time, or just go straight into that flawless round. So far, it's still early rounds, but Electrify haven't really provided much of a pushback to suggest that they're going to prevent things like that flawless round from happening. There we go, a ping straight onto that Electrify player here on the smoke, throwing in the canister, but Yas is just being incredibly patient. He doesn't have to worry all that much about things. He takes a little bit of damage, but he knows that eventually he'll be able to move on forward, and the chances are, given his statistics, he's going to win that fight out.
10 triple lift got down as well, and right now Revy's in a position where he can go for a plant. Pikachu should be able to push this soon. Yas is going to be going for a push anytime soon. Now as he's on his drone, gets that frag as well. It's only up to Ray now in this 1-on-5 situation. Is he going to be able to pick up one kill, or is this going to be the second flawless round in a row right now to come down? Yes, it is. It's SCARZ to pick up yet another one. Electrify yet to find a kill. And yet again, they keep on being picked apart right here without even, like, they just lose the gunfights. They're being outplayed, being out-angled.
I mean,
even though they're stalling quite long.
Here's the thing. SCARZ are able to get the 3 hatches open incredibly quickly because there hasn't been anything put in place to prevent them from doing so, which means that once they start coming in from other angles, like Yas pushing the dirt tunnel and Pikachu having to, provide all of his attention to that, at the end, once the players started dropping in from kitchen, you saw him kind of running backwards and forwards because he didn't really know which way to go. It means that Electrify, it looks like, are looking at this from a very one-dimensional perspective where they are hoping for and expecting SCARZ to kind of just filter themselves in, maybe down the stairs like you see in a lot of cases, but then they want to take the fights there. But they're not even getting to that point. They haven't prevented SCARZ from being able to make their way down into the site by doing things like, for example, electrifying the hatches like you see other teams do or whatnot. So it just means that they can jump down, provide those different angles of aggression, and suddenly Electrify are caught in the, a kind of death sandwich they don't really want to be in. So this is the
right?
first time.
10
Oh,
seconds
go on.
left before
Yeah, but like with the kite, they have to like find a different way, because kite's bend, to actually make sure those hatches stay closed. And like a simple impact trick would be the way, but they don't even like utilize that, right? So it's like that one basic thing is so important to keep control of Church and Arsenal. They're kind of missing out on it right here. And if you don't do that, you need to go for like a heavy roam. It's either or the two. Like
Yeah.
you cannot do just turtling down, because you're gonna get picked up.
Yeah, which is kind of what I was going to say, right? Is in the first round, when you look back, Ray was the first to go down. That's the roamer you want to rely on, particularly as the Jaeger. I don't even really think he did anything significant in the last round, in round 2. So when you really want to be relying on that roam, they just don't seem to have it. But, you know, now they're in CCTV and cash. The question is, are they going to be able to do anything better on this site and have any better luck? Here is the wall beginning to be open, and actually Ray's been forced back there by the fire caused by blown up Goyo shield, and that means that he really couldn't do anything in that scenario. So the wall opened incredibly quickly, and straight away Electrified are being pushed back because they're just playing to the pacing that SCARZ have set out.
Well, Electrify need to find a way to stop these players from SCARZ just run in, and I'm incredibly happy that I can finally say Pikachu on stream and not be looked at weirdly, because I did ask before just to make sure, and he said it's actually Pikachu, so I'm like, okay, I'm certain now that I'm not messing up the pronunciation, but he's gonna be the one that needs to well, probably hold them off from the backroom side of things. His damage
Claymore
goes down to a Claymore. That's really not helping them out. Pikachu now gets down as well, but Jazz leaving them only up in the 3-on-5 situation. Ray seems to be coming up from a flank right here, but he's messing up his shots and is going to get taken down from, well, basically 2 angles at the same time. Jazz is going to be picking that one up as well, and it leaves only ED and Flash left to try and hold off with this last minute to go against the full 5 of SCARZ. Surely a third flawless round should not be coming in right here. That would be so devastating for the likes of Electrify. SCARZ are just looking too strong right now. They know exactly what to do. They know exactly how to play this game, and Electrify is just trying to get a grip on it. As, you know, they're new to this kind of level of play, so they're trying to fit themselves in. So far, not going too well, though.
Like, it feels kind of crazy that they even, like, Ray tried to make that decision before construction had even attempted to be open, because at that point, you're going to be outnumbered. It's going to be pretty hard to attempt that. Whereas if he left it a little bit later, maybe he could have come around and got the flank. But 11's going to be bringing down Ed and Revy onto Flash. Another flawless round. What are the odds that we're going to see seven flawless rounds in a row and not a single kill come out of Electrify? Because I don't want to say high hopes, but I was, you know, cautiously optimistic about this team because, okay, this is not a region that I'm familiar with, and this is a team who we get to learn about. And so far, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? They have like this surprise factor they could use due to the fact that it's a relatively unknown region. But that surprise factor doesn't really seem to be helping them as of yet. They're just turtling down. Ray's trying to go for a roam, but he doesn't really manage to get the hits in where necessary. And it's SCARZ that just perfectly capitalizes on every single thing they do, or rather don't do, because it's more the fact that they're not actively denying the walls from opening up. They're not actively denying them from, well, entering specific areas. They're just sitting on their angles waiting to be picked, and they're losing out the gunfights because of that.
Well, once again, they've decided to come back for a second time to the site that they failed on. And there's a lot of question about whether or not this is a good thing or a bad thing. You know, you've just kind of, especially given that they don't seem to be majorly adaptive, you know, you've kind of given away that you're weak on this side, you want to maybe go somewhere else and try things out. But evidently they have some confidence in what it is they can do.
5 seconds to go.
They brought, I believe this is the same lineup that they did bring on the previous site. So they have a lot of operators on their side that, you know, come with relatively good weaponry, which would be really, you know, enabled by players who are fast, they're nippy, they're able to get those angles and those cheeky shots that you look for, kind of things that players on SCARZ have been able to achieve so far. But not really any kind of, as much of an anchor play, like, you know, no sort of Maestro or anything like that, not even a smoke.
Attackers have located
Yeah.
a bomb.
But well, they used it before, right? Both Maestro and the smoke. But the Maestro was being entry killed, and the smoke, well, as soon as he tossed out his canister, he was getting peeked. So it'd probably be like, okay, we're trying to use the utility, but we're not really getting the opportunity to, or as soon as we do, we get punished for it. And thus we decide to go into more frag-heavy operators, because, well, basically, Alibi, you play that for the gun most of the time. The MX4 Storm is a really good gun. The Prismas, sure, they help you with some information, but it's not really the operator that you would need in this current lineup, so it would really tell me they're just trying to get some kills in right now to maybe force something to happen. Flash right there, going prone. Not be spotting anybody as of yet. SCARZ is just being really patient. They're really methodical. They respect Electrify a lot, actually. It's not like, okay, we're better, we're just running in and gunning. No, they stick to the methodical ways, and that is something that after 3 flawless rounds, not many teams would do, to be honest. A lot of them would just be, you know, starting to actually play more frag heavy instead of strategic.
It's kind of interesting they've decided to take more of a presence in the garage, because last time that wasn't something they were particularly focused on. And so that could provide a little bit of pushback should the time come, but Canos actually knows that triple lift is there. There's the attempted run out from Flash, but not able to get anything that he wanted, especially as Canos was lying prone, or on his back rather, so he wasn't really an ideal target. If he'd done it a little bit earlier, maybe he'd have been able to get away with it, but it was almost like he was kind of too scared. It has left Canos low on health though, but Pikachu, the first one to fall, and that means SCARZ have set the precedent once again as being the team who are going to be getting these kills. Question is, are they going to be able to keep it up? Yep, there's 11 once again, bringing down triple lift. That was the player who was looking after the garage, but Flash finally able to get the first kill for the side of Electrify, but Revy's going to be planting the diffuser, and it doesn't look like it's really going to be enough for them. It's a slow start, but it's not a start that looks like it's going to do much for them. Diffuser is planted, and now it's just Ray left on his own. Got to go against 4 members of SCARZ, and he's got to find a way to disable. Can't do it. He's not going to be alive long enough to even see the diffuser. And once again, SCARZ take the round. But unfortunately for them, it won't be a flawless. Life truly is hard.
Truly is hard, but more so for actually Electrify, and finally managed to get their first kill in. You know, you gotta celebrate the little successes in life right here. So they'll be happy with that one. Now they're gonna try and double that, maybe even a bit more than that. I'm gonna see the mirror coming down right now, and that might actually be an interesting one. Might actually help them cross that edge. And of course, Mira is an operator that changes the entire site. Puts it into two different parts, or just basically make sure that it's gonna be impossible to enter through certain hallways due to the fact that, well, you're gonna get pre-fired every single time. So maybe the mirror is what they need. Maybe the mirror is the saving grace for the likes of Electrify, so they can still at least get 1 round in before they're heading over to the second half.
At the very least, we're going to be looking at a little bit more time and utility having to be spent by SCARZ to get rid of things like the mirror window and, of course, like the bandit batteries. Maybe look at someone like Yas who can go underneath and use one of those grenades to get rid of those batteries. But, of course, you do have the Kali. You could see if she can do that. Either way, the fact that SCARZ have been able to open up these walls incredibly quickly so far in the game has given them so much more time to play with later on in the round when, you know, and that's been the time in which they've been able to just farm these kills. So whatever Electrify can do to sort of shave that time down and force SCARZ into a little bit more of a rushed situation, maybe that could end up working out in their favor. Obviously, yet to see, but, you know, we've seen some really good gunplay come out from SCARZ, some really decisive shots. Just their confidence has not been wavering at all, and I don't know if the presence of mirror windows really is going to be enough to change that.
No, but it might be a start, of course, to at least help them get some extra kills. Like right now, all they need is some confidence to, well, get going, start feeling confident a bit more. So, I mean, like, there's this saying, right, in Siege, as soon as you start doubting whether or not you're going to be good enough to win the match, you already lost it. So confidence is key in this one. So as soon as you lose all confidence or hope even on winning a round, it's already done. So maybe the mirror is going to be able to help them to retake that advantage as that C4 unfortunately sticks into the window frame. The wall is going to get opened up. That's going to be forcing ED to walk out. And
A bomb has been located.
right now, the wall has been opened up. Not a single point of damage has been done as of yet. 1 minute 40 is going to be on the clock, and that means that SCARZ is going to be, well, starting to look and set up their approach and their final execute soon, because we know they're methodical like that. They know what is going to be clear, and they're more than happy then to use that to its full extent.
You know, I said, oh, they're going to be looking to kind of slow them down, and it just kind of looked like that didn't really happen. And that's one of the things that's making me incredibly concerned about this roster, is they're not really being able to, even in the situations where they should be slowing SCARZ down, they can't pull it off. And now they're starting to move in from the other side of the map. There's Yas getting a shot onto Ray. Once again, that gunner who you want to be looking out for because he's on the Jaeger, unable to be able to provide any of that potential flanking presence on this team that are looking incredibly lethal right now. This is why we're starting to see this roam be made here from the Bandit and the Alibi. They're going to be coming up the stairs, but Yas, he has an idea. He's moving on over there. Changed his mind. Maybe they're not going to be coming up that direction. But the point is, if Yas catches wind of them, well, he's going to be able to get rid of them. There's the X-Carriers on the mirror window, so that should be swiftly getting rid of that. The question is, can Electrify get any of these key kills onto the back of SCARZ that they require? The diffuser has been dropped, and Flash just knows that they're being watched. They are suspicious. Ed gets a kill in for himself, but 2 being laid into the side of Electrify in less than 10 seconds to go. This looks like it's just going to be another round for SCARZ. And at this point, I feel like I can just call it without having to watch the round hap. SCARZ get their 5th round in a row. Not a flawless once again, but it just looks so dominant.
They dropped the diffuser, Gio. With 10 seconds left, there were still 2 people in the bedroom, right? And 1 was still into the actual cash room. Like, if you drop the diffuser that deep into the bedroom, you just hide, right? With 10 seconds left, there's no way they're going to be able to retrieve it, get in for that plant. All they had to do was run down the stairs, go into the basement, and hide. That would have been your round if you did that, but well, instead they went for the peaks, trying to get some more kills, and lost the round as a result. Because of that, that's a 5-0 currently for SCARZ, who have only suffered 3 deaths in total. Their CGG ratings are going to be going through the roof, because well, those KDs are going to be like unlimited if you're dividing it by 0.
I think one of the really concerning things that we also have to think about here with Electrify is we're going now back to Church Arsenal.
Look,
We've only
replay.
seen... Oh, it's just...
It's down.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a sad time for all. But
Sorry.
we've only seen 2 sites be gone to here by Electrify. Most teams would at least go to Gym Bedroom once, right? Especially if you're struggling this much on the defense. You maybe throw in another one. You don't want to be the team that looks incredibly limited, like you only have the option to play like that is what we're seeing so far. And so that just means it kind of broadcasts to all these other teams who are going to be watching out for these because they need to look at bots, they need to understand the playstyle of their opponents. If they just know, oh, this is Electrify and these are the only 2 sites that they can go to, that is not the position you want to be in when you're in a tier 1 league, and it's incredibly concerning. And if SCARZ can manage to get their 6th round here, all they'll have to do is get 1 round when they're on the defense to secure themselves the win. Electrify really need to pull something out here.
I've seen 6-0s more often on the likes of Clubhouse, even when it's the attack that is getting these 6 rounds, but I've never seen it be this one-sided. Like, this would be the first time where I said, yeah, 5-0 would be justified for the efforts that have been put in. And it's kind of harsh to say to Electrify, but it's like the basic stuff that's missing. Like, we're missing impact tricks. We're just missing like the smart plays as well. Finally, Triple Lift is going to be able to pick up a kill right here. That's going to be a double kill. Nice shot there by Triple. was going to be saying, like, it could have just as well been a 6-0, but, well, they're setting themselves up right now to potentially work themselves up to a first round, as Revy is going to get tagged up a little bit here as well, hoping to return to fire. Is going to be dealing quite a lot of damage to Pikachu. He's going to get stuck now at the actual pool table right here. Flashbangs coming in. Pikachu's going to be forced back a little bit every single second as Jess is coming in to try and support. It's going to be him to fall eventually. It'll be Triple Lift with his triple, living up to his name, and it's only up to 11 right now, and that means there's still hope that Electrify is at least going to be picking up one round.
Well, there's not actually a huge presence on the bottom floor, as you see a lot of the players of Electrify now rushing down the stairs because they know that 11 has got to make his way down. Look at them all just swarming over towards blue here. That's typically the route that the Zephyr would have to take, and it's going to make it incredibly difficult for him to hold all of those angles at once. Funnily enough, there's only one barrel on his gun, and it can only be held in one angle. Less than a minute to go, and the odds are stacked up against 11 here, but you know, he is nothing if not someone who is going to make an attempt. Don't know if he's actually gonna opt to go for the diffuser. He's checking all of these angles pretty thoroughly because he wants to be sure there are none of these, you know, flankers who are kind of waiting in some corner somewhere ready to shoot him, but no, obviously they've all gone downstairs. And he's got the diffuser, just under 30 seconds left to go, and this is where the hard part starts to come in. Now, it'll be incredibly cheeky if he's even able to get this plant off without getting these kills, but not even able to secure just one. Electrify take their first round, and gotta say, it's about time.
It was definitely about time. A huge round right there from Triple F, picking up that triple kill, or actually quad kill in the end. And I was about to say that Electrify not really doing the basic stuff. Well, they didn't really get to use it here because Triple Lift took them all out before they even had the opportunity to, but it is definitely something when, as soon as they go full fault review, I hope they notice that and start practicing on those impact tricks, because that would have saved you so much time on like the last 2 times you went into the basement. So yeah, onto the attack right now. Let's see if that maybe is their forte, GL.
Imagine saying, oh yeah, my KD is 9-1.
In an official Pro League match.
My KD isn't, by the way. Like, you know, and it's just, you know, interesting. And there's still time for Electrify to catch up. You know, I don't want to be all doom and gloom about them. I think we're just a little bit disappointed because there was so much mystery surrounding this team, and I wanted to believe that they were going to be able to challenge SCARZ. I mean, SCARZ, yes, they came first in Korean Pro League, and that sounds great on the surface of it, but that's really the only major success story that they've had. They've been a terribly inconsistent team in the past. They struggled in the Korea Open. They had a win against Axiomatic, but a non-decisive win against Axiomatic, and they were really the weakest team in all of Korea, and they struggled against Talon Esports as well, and the biggest thing for them is to prove that they have consistency. Now, obviously, this is a great start for them, and if they can keep it up, fantastic, and I would love to see that. But the point is as a story of SCARZ, they haven't been an all-dominating roster. So to allow them to be the roster that is dominating you from the beginning, that is maybe a bit concerning for Electrify. But obviously, things are turned around now, given that they are playing on the attack this side of the half, and they maybe could come out showing us some of their skills if they are a particularly prominent attack-sided team. You know, it is Clubhouse, so you don't expect it to be an attacker-sided map or anything like that, but bringing out things like the Ashe, the Sophia, you've also got the IQ there. If they can frag out, then maybe there's still a chance for them.
Well, definitely so. Fragging out, they definitely need to, but so far, SCARZ is not really giving them the opportunity to. As 1 minute has passed, they need to start opening up these hatches now. On the likes of Electrify, they need to get these angles open as soon as possible. I believe that 2 of the SCARZ already have been used. I would assume that is a motorcycle, and as you just saw, into the stock, leaving only one left to open up on the kitchen. Well, and if you look at the sides of SCARZ, there's going to be 4 impacts available, and 1 will do the trick. That is going to be removing that last SCARZ that Pikachu has, meaning that there is going to be no control from this actual kitchen side. I'm not going to be opening up the hatch. Not going to be able to drop from that. Still going to be able to get the kill, though, onto 11. Flash will be able to pick him up. It's going to be able to at least turn the tides a little bit into their favor. With 1 minute 30 left, is he going to go wall baked? Yes, he is. All right. Well played, Jazz. Someone's getting that kill right there. Just blind firing through. There's one already at the bottom floor at the main stairs, just waiting for a peek to happen.
Yeah, it's actually a really dangerous place to be in the kitchen right now. And as you say, Ray's waiting down here. He's just going to be holding onto this angle so that the wall can hopefully get opened here by Ed. But with Demic right behind on the Maestro, there we go. He manages to get rid of that. And then suddenly all of SCARZ know that these players are here. They're starting to actually back all the way back up the stairs. They're changing their minds entirely. But there's under a minute left remaining. They can't get this kitchen hatch open. So what is it that they're going to decide to do at this point? Just try and get the shots in through the floor? They've got to get a plant at some point, and all of these players, bar one, are remaining standing on SCARZ. There's still impacts available on them. If they stand on those floors above them, then they're at a huge risk. Coming down through blue is triple lift, but he's not going to be able to survive to see the end of his journey. And now we're looking down into the tunnel. Ed will be falling as well, unable to get the wall open, unable to survive to the end of the round. 2 kills on 2 members of SCARZ. Now that's pretty big there for Electrify, and things could start to turn around for them. Flash is holding onto the diffuser, but he doesn't even need to use it. Electrify get that kill they needed onto Demic, and they take another round in their favor, Hap.
Way too aggressively played by SCARZ. Like, at some point in the tunnel right there, you just see the smoke. He's smoking it off with 20 seconds left, right? You know that he's not going to be able to pass through that anymore. And then the Legion just decides to walk through the smoke himself. He could have been way better used somewhere else to set up a crossfire into a church, for example. Not sure why that happened. Good on Electrify to actually, well, work with that and make sure that they win the round due to that. But, like, SCARZ should have been, well, more respecting, I should say, like, compared to what they were. Like, that they really got over-aggressive. Didn't need to.
Well, you know, you never want to speak too soon, but this could be where we start to see some of the cracks in the armor of SCARZ appear. If they can't hold their own too much on the defense without succumbing to the temptation of being a little bit too aggressive, maybe that's where Electrify could actually begin to find a bit of success. Bandit batteries being placed down here on the east wall. Now, obviously, when Electrify were playing on the defense of this site, they found themselves being pushed about a bit, a little bit too much by SCARZ. And even when they tried to have some kind of a flank to get them from behind, they really failed in that endeavor as well. So I'm very interested to see how it is that SCARZ are able to deal with that. You know, interesting, they've decided to bring the castle. They've used the castle on that window that directly faces the wall, because something that they knew that they did was they could just straight away come in, get rid of the batteries by shooting in through that window. So that means there's a little bit of extra work required from Electrify to get rid of that. There's the garage door, I believe, being Kairos behind. Okay, the very top of the garage door. But that's going to force cannons to move.
Yeah, that angle is, of course, being made to actually challenge the window up on the mezzanines right here. So if Gas would decide to jump through that way, he will be able to be picked up. And, well, there you see a barricade, right? And you're like, why is the top being punched out? It's to make sure that it's going to be a, well, one jump or one hit fault to go through for Jazz. If he needs to go out, he doesn't need to be, well, too iffy about it. He can just jump. Doesn't need to hope that he hits the one-hit fault. So, like, it's just to speed up the process a little bit. In the meantime, Ray and Flash are trying to take control of launch. There's still going to be a shield in the middle of things. It's going to be Ravi to get down from below, though. Flash is going to be able to get that one down. Damage is going to be responding onto Ray. Right now, Electrify seems to be trading out properly with SCARZ. Something that didn't really happen before. They seem to have found the confidence and their gun skill that they needed to put up the fight with SCARZ properly. And let's see if they can keep this up and potentially get this round as well onto, well, SCARZ, who is now playing top floor CCTV. There we go, another kill to come in. Triple if perfectly droned out. Gonna get that one and turn the advantage back in the favor of Electrify, yes. Spots are coming out, but SCARZ are not in the ideal positions to deal with these people.
Yeah, and it was incredibly careless from SCARZ to allow that kill to happen. Yard's going to be able to get one onto Pikachu, but really he's being relatively pressured. Ed's just looking for the perfect opportunity to put down the diffuser, but they've got to be aware of this Jaeger and the Bandit who are still remaining, ready to just jump out from these hiding places to act on it. Kanos trying to have a look, but in the meantime, Yas will be going down, and that allows Electrify to take another round. This is the third round in a row that they've taken now. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe this is how things are. Electrify have the stronger attack, they feel more confident on it, and SCARZ just don't feel as strong on the defense.
Well, they definitely didn't look strong on the defense at all. It took them 5 rounds, then they had 3 kills, and afterwards it was double lift that came in, or triple lift. Why did I say double lift? It's a different game. The triple lift that came in right there, managing to pick up 4 kills that round. Basically single-handedly carrying that one home, and ever since, Electrify seems to be on fire. They seems to be going through, and SCARZ are the ones that have no clue how to get through the current attacks of Electrify.
No, they're really struggling somewhat. They've decided to return back to the same site, going back to CCTV and Cash. And I don't think they had a terrible idea of what it was they were doing. There were just a couple of really careless mistakes. I mean, for example, when Triple Lift was actually able to get that kill in the garage, I think it was Demic who was on the rafters, correct me if I'm wrong. It was just an incredibly sort of careless thing. I mean, you should always be expecting someone to be looking in through the garage door at some point. And if you're just going to kind of be standing there looking the other way, you're not even receiving the intel from your team, not even, you know, crouching, lying prone, trying to hold an angle, it just makes you incredibly vulnerable. And it was just a very unnecessary death that he really didn't have to suffer. And it's things like that that Electrify have been able to take advantage of that SCARZ just didn't really need to allow to happen. And you get to this end point where, yeah, they had Yas and Kanos who were remaining, and yeah, those are the star players, and they're pretty good at what they do, and they should be able to hold their own. But if they can get overwhelmed by the attacking team, there's only so much you can do, especially if you don't have loads of intel from the team, which is what it looks like is happening here with SCARZ. They don't have a lot of intel remaining from the team. I mean, it's not like they're playing anyone who has cameras, and if the defaults go down, they don't have those. They're not playing a Mozzie, so they can't take the drones of the attacking team. So they're really flying blind at that point in a round, and that's the point that Electrify is starting to show that actually they can fight it.
I was going to say, actually, it might be a good idea to pick a Mozzie as Pikachu gets the kill onto Canos. He used the quick attack right there and managed to actually get that kill down. Right now, cast barricades being opened up, flashbangs following that up. Yes, going to be fully blinded twice, allowing Rain Triple Lift to get into a good position to potentially try and, well, challenge him right there as he keeps him getting fully blinded. Eventually, we'll decide to rotate all the way back up as he sees it's not going to be of any use to keep on contesting that. And quickly went to checking his Bennett batteries, but then realized, oh, they are still up. That's why they're trying to take control of launch, because they want to use that Sophia Impact or one of those reaching charges that is no longer present on the likes of Ash to get rid of the Bennett wires, and that would allow them to finally open up and create that extra angle they need to get that plan down eventually. But first, they need to deal with Yas, who's playing on this launch area, but just to be careful because they're waiting for him. They're trying to peek, and Damage is going to be going aggressive right now. Manages to actually rotate back up as well. And with that, it's going to be 4 people on site again for the likes of SCARZ. Right now are going to be having the opportunity to start rotating around on the actual top floor as the rest of Electrify tries to make sure that this wall will finally open up. Free fires coming through, grenade rolling in as well. This wall is going to get opened up, and that will be on the rappel just to take down anybody who tries to pass.
You're actually seeing a lot more of a presence in the garage there, but as I say that, Yas gets taken down, so that's not going to be there anymore, but a trade being put onto Ed. The diffuser is now sat on the garage door. That's a pretty dangerous place for it to be, because 11 is sat here on the rafters, and he can just watch out for anyone who decides to try and make their way there. So now Electrify have a choice. They either go just for the kills, which is probably what they're going to do, given that only 11 is remaining. Now he's being pinged the location of his enemies. That should give him a bit of an advantage in this situation, but if he's unable to secure those kills, he's just got one more to get, and there we go. 11 gets the ace, and SCARZ win round 9, and things may be starting to fall a little bit back in their favor.
Yeah, shouldn't have run like that. Like, it would have even been better to just run past on the red stairs, top floor hallway, you know, and then go through that rotation there to get into cash. But like going through that door after you just got shot at from the mezzanines is asking for issues and asking for troubles. And with that, it's going to be SCARZ right now that will be on match point, and 3 consecutive ones. Speaking of that, just due to a small misplay like that, because Electrify had their round in the bag. If they just would have gone for the plan, they only had to cover. They didn't do it in the end, and well, right now that might cost them dearly. It could have been 5-4 right now, just 1 round away from drawing things up. But instead, we're looking at 3 consecutive match points where Electrify needs to be flawless if they want to be able to actually go to overtime and still get the full 3 points.
SCARZ. They know that they've done it once now. We're moving to a different site, of course. Going downstairs. They've only defended this site once so far in round 7, and it didn't work out so well for them. They were a little bit over-aggressive. They were a little bit cocky, almost, I think is fair to say. After how things went on the first half, they probably expected things to be a lot easier than they actually were. So that leads me to believe, hopefully, that they'll be a little bit more patient and a little bit more thorough in their defense and kind of not underestimate what Electrify can do.
Objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
We'll see what it is that they do decide to do. Bringing the Goyo this time, I don't believe 11 was playing that before. And of course, Yas on the Legion is going to make it a lot harder for that dirt tunnel push to happen. They have actually decided to bring the Mute Mozzie this time. There was something that I mentioned before. They weren't bringing cameras, and they weren't playing anything like a Mozzie where you can prevent the intel from being there for the enemy team. So having that available to them this time could help stifle Electrify and give them the benefit and the advantage in those situations. Just waiting for the attacking team to begin to make their move in. They of course have players situated on that top floor. There's Canos up there in logistics. Just waiting before they begin to make their rotations and their moves around.
Time to make it.
All right. Finally, the wall's going to get opened up. Ed is going to be using one of his exothermics right there, and that will allow them to put some pressure from the dirt tunnel, something you would really like to have. Due to the fact that, of course, Clubhouse is this map where you always want to bring 2 heart breachers, no matter what. You can expend one of your exothermics to at least open up the dirt tunnel. They decided to go for the side entrance. Not really sure why, as that allows you, well, basically doesn't allow you to take that long angle to try and counter people who want to challenge in that dirt tunnel. Triple Lift is going to get tagged up, needs to pull out this needle in the meantime. Get some spots down. In the meantime, it's going to be an aggressive fight right here in the tunnel as well. Ed gets the better hand out of that one. The proximity alarm will be beeping now, but they already knew they were there. C4 from Canis will be taking down Triple Lift. That is going to be bringing things back to a drop. Pikachu will get damage. That is going to be, well, the advantage right now. Electrify, you're stepping up huge compared to your first half right here. However, cannot afford to be flawless. Not sure what Revy did there. Swapped out from his weapon. In the meantime, Ed is going to be going for that plan, and the complete cover from Electrify is there. Nothing is there to counter that. 40 seconds on the clock. What can SCARZ do to try and counter this off? It's 11 and Canis both in the church right now. They need to find 4 more in the likes of Electrify. Pre-fires are happening left, right, and center. They're hoping to find someone with this method. But as long as Electrify does not peek and just holds massive angles, this should be their round. This should be the way that they bring it to 6-5, or 6-4, I must say. And indeed they do. It's Pikachu and Ed to pick up a round each. And suddenly, it seems like Electrify is way stronger than they were in the first 5 rounds.
That was an absolutely fatal mistake there from Revy. He was in the middle of shooting them. Whatever it was that happened, was he reloading or was he switching weapons? I mean, whatever it was just a real unnecessary death for the side of SCARZ. And it's kind of a shame because, you know, once that C4 from Canos took down Triple Lift, I was thinking, okay, this is kind of interesting because Blue was pretty empty as far as defenders go. They got that perfect C4, which also opened up the wall, which meant that when Ray came down as Ash and tried to hold those angles, he was really kind of wide in the open, and there were enough members of SCARZ down there that they could have quite easily taken him. Even when he crouched to reload, his character model still would have been poking over the hole that was left by that C4. It just wasn't something that SCARZ took advantage of. Whether that was because they were focused on other things, they were distracted, they weren't expecting the Ashe to follow the Zofia down. Whatever it was a missed opportunity. And then when the kills started to come in and more players from the side of Electrify started to move down and overwhelm the remaining members of SCARZ, that's when the scales began to tip. And of course, that that kill onto Revi was real indicative of that situation. SCARZ probably going to be very frustrated with themselves with that, but they still do have a couple of rounds to play with. Hopefully for them, they're able to turn this match point into a match win. But of course, they're going to be back down here on Church and Arsenal, and this will be the third time that they're trying to rectify the mistakes that they have made. Are they going to be able to do it?
Are they going to be able to do it? Is SCARZ going to be able to close it out here? Or is Electrify going to be able to bring things back to a 6-6? I kind of hope so for them, as they had little to no hope themselves they would be able to perform. I really kind of want them to do well in their first one and get that, get the motivation to improve, to become a better team, and maybe even fight for that, well, top half of the league standings. And if Electrify keep up what they have shown so far on the attack, how they actually counted SCARZ, they do have potential. They just need to work on their defense a lot, because those first 5 rounds were absolutely devastating for them. And if any of those would have gone the other way, it would have been them right now to the point. So that is something to keep in mind. There's just simple things that were missing. So there's a lot of potential right here in Electrify. Just give them a couple of more weeks and we might have ourselves a real contender for the APAC North division.
I think SCARZ is going to have to really watch out for this Capitan that's being played by Flash here, because the thing that's really been an issue for them so much so far has been the fact that once their positioning has been able to be influenced, that's when they start to fail. Now, obviously, due to the nature of the Capitan being able to use those firebolts and, of course, smokes as well, it really kind of has that effect. You're forcing the positioning of the defenders, and if you're lucky, you can get a kill as well. And that could really be their downfall. Now, the hatches are beginning to be opened. Is the impact trick going to work? You managed to get a couple of the pellets, but I don't know if it was enough. Oh. No, it wasn't. So they were able to get the kitchen hatch open. I thought that might have been the case. Bit disappointing there for SCARZ, as they now know that they've used a bunch of utility for something that didn't actually end up working. They just have 1 impact remaining. Down go the flashes, and in come the drones as Electrify begin to figure out what it is they're going to be doing. The dirt tunnel push is an interesting one for them because it's worked really well for them all the time so far. Revi's actually going to be the one sitting in there this time instead of Yas. And so it'll be interesting to see if that goes any differently, because that has been a real weak spot for SCARZ.
It definitely has been a weak spot. Every single time the gunfight was won by the attacking team. And right now we see they're like Electrify ready to drop. They just need that one entrance right there. Smoke being popped in. Jazz is going to be put out of position as they're now coming in, getting the crossfires ready. The plant's going down. 45 seconds. Revi soon will be scared about this, but he's actually going to get taken down by Ray. And yet again, this plant goes down. It's going to be a 5-on-4 situation as Ray goes down, but still there's going to be 38 seconds left on the clock, and you need 7 to defuse. So they really need to start this retake fast if they want to be able to win this one on the likes of SCARZ. It's going to be damage to go down. Sony I11 right now left standing, but he won't even stand long either. It's Pikachu with a double to finish things off. It's Electrify to win round 11, just 1 away from going to overtime. And man, I kind of want to see it now. I want to see Electrify go overtime. I want to see him actually go back to defense, see if they've learned from their mistakes, and maybe with this extra confidence they have found, able to put up a proper round.
I think the kind of ludicrous thing here is, not for the first time today have we ended up in a scenario where one team's looking very dominant on the first half, and we draw our conclusions as to what that's going to mean for the series, and then suddenly you get to the second half and everything just kind of changes and you're thinking, is this the same team that I was watching before? Because Electrify, for all the mistakes, for all the weaknesses they had when they were playing on the defense, on attack, they have really been a thorn in the side of SCARZ. SCARZ have 1 more chance to get the win, well, the decisive win here on Clubhouse before heading on into overtime. And it's just kind of crazy that they were in that position in the bottom where they were in the same room, the same site. They weren't even offside. There were at least 2 members of the team who were sat there in Arsenal as that plant was going down. And because of the positioning of Electrify, just because of, I mean, I think part of it is also kind of a mentality thing, right? But the point is they couldn't do anything about it when the guy planting the diffuser was literally meters away from them. That's not good. That's not a great position to be in. Now, going back to CCTV, they've been able to win one of the defenses on here. It was the second one they did back in round 9, but Electrify did take the first one they did. Now, they were able to do that when they started to have a little bit more of a presence in the garage, because the diffuser got dropped in the garage door, or in the door facing the rafters rather than the garage door that gets opened. And that meant that so many members of Electrify had to cross the line of sight and into the path of 11 to be able to pick that up, and 11 was able to secure an ace. And that was great for him, but that was also very reliant upon the fact that the diffuser happened to be dropped in that specific place. And that's something that Electrify will remember, and they will be making adaptations on and not sending the guy with the diffuser through a line of sight like that. So SCARZ can't necessarily rely on that same spike of luck happening.
Definitely cannot rely on that, and Electrify, they need to adapt to what's currently being brought. You already see the sledge being ready to go from the dirt tunnel. Maybe surprise them a little bit from the new blue side of things, hoping to attack the cast-off from their area. This Jess, I believe, goes off the angle at the moment. Pikachu peeks, but he's still going to be able to get that kill in the end, and it's going to be the entry frag they need to make sure that this round gets to them and potentially secure that 7-5 victory. He is going to be challenging downstairs, though. Not sure how smart that is. It's right here. Flash was waiting, meaning that kill will be coming back to Electrify, bringing them into an even situation as Triple F just walks in, gets a kill, then Flash gets a kill as well. It's 11 who responds, but it's yet again Electrify who are retaking the lead right here. The wall is going to get opened up on the likes of CCTV, and it's going to be dropping down. We'll be rotating around, deciding to go for a different side of things. One is still on the mezzanines, one is in the deep end of cash right there, so they're basically split. And if they manage to find Revy here, the site should be free to plant. But the question is, how are they going to be able to find him? Are they just going to be walking in from construction, try to go from that way? Because that might be the actual best thing you could do at this point. Just opening up that wall, try and well, basically pinch Revy out as well. And after that, go for a plant.
There's that drone. He just shot it, but it was present on the red stairs then, so they know exactly where he's positioned. He's bringing out the smoke to give himself a little bit of protection, but that's not going to change the fact that Electrify know exactly where he is. There we go. He gets stunned out. That'll make it a lot easier for Electrify to potentially get that shot onto him. Not going to actually happen, but he has taken a significant amount of damage. Question is it going to be enough? I mean, they've got 20 seconds left. All they have to do is push into the site, and really what's Revy going to be able to do about it? Oh, okay, not much. He goes straight down to Flash. 7 seconds left, and 11 is the only one still standing. Is he going to be able to do anything? Well, the diffuser does get planted, so he has to deal with that as well. It's a 1 versus 2. He's done this once before. He did this the last time this was played. But you're going to start seeing Electrify moving outside. They're going to jump in behind him, I'm willing to bet, because they're coming in through. They know exactly where he is. He doesn't know where his opponents are. And there we go. Ray able to bring him down. And you know where that sends us, Hap? It sends us into overtime.
Sends us to overtime indeed, Gio. I'm definitely happy that Electrify manages to get themselves back into the race after such a horrible start of things. 5 rounds in a row they lost. 3 of those were flawless. They only managed to get 3 kills in total in those 5 rounds, and now they're finally getting themselves up into an actual fight. We're back in square one. We're going for a sprint finish. 3 rounds before we know who the winner will be. It's going to be Electrify starting on the attack, and keep in mind we've had 10 rounds won onto the attack, so Electrify has the big advantage here going into this overtime. Only 2 more rounds they need to get those full 3 points, and no one would have expected after, well, basically the first 3 rounds to go down the way they did.
No, I mean, it's absolutely crazy, and you know, we're in this position now where either of these teams do require 2 rounds to be able to take this map now. So there's a little bit more flexibility, but given how things have been for SCARZ, you kind of think them getting 1 round at this point doesn't mean all that much. It sort of makes me lack confidence in the consistency and being able to keep that up. Now, obviously, the rounds do switch, so if they're able to get this defensive round and then it switches and they can get an attacking round, that may be the play for them and that may work out for them. But they have to get that original defensive round in the first place, and so far, you know, they've only been able to win 1 of them.
Definitely. Only 2 defensive rounds so far have been won on this clubhouse by these APAC teams, and it seems to be kind of a repeating factor. It seems like APAC is very attack-sided today, especially the games I have casted. I cannot remember a single one where actually the defense was having the clear advantage. And well, Electrify looking to make use of that attack-sidedness of today, hoping to pick up yet another round, as we are, of course, in CCTV cash. Could have been the most comfortable site that SCARZ could find themselves on. I believe they're going to be aware of the fact that Yas is currently located the way he is. It could really spell trouble if the likes of Electrify want to keep moving in. They could just go for a simple pre-fire. They're going to be pretending like they didn't drone. Okay, no, you watch for just to be sure. It's often a strategy to pretend like you didn't see him, for example, you know, that like he's going to stick in his position and then you're going to be pre-firing around him and he's like, ah, damn, they did see me. But yeah, he is going to be able to fall back all the way downstairs before the whole firing squad of Electrify moves in, takes him out, meaning he's still going to be on the activeness side of things on the roam and still pose a dangerous threat for the later stages of this round.
And it's so interesting to me how Yas on the defense and Yas on the attack seem to be 2 different players, right? He seems a lot more scared when he's on the defense. He's making these very, very big rotations, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. He absolutely should stay away from danger and to keep himself alive. But on the attack, he was so much more confident in his ability, and it just seemed like he was able to dominate over the other players. Now, construction wall being opened up. Canis is just staying out the way here. Maybe he'll have the opportunity to catch Ed out if he starts to walk into the site, but it would surprise me if he does just decide to make his way in. There goes the lifeline. Not going to be seeing anything just yet, as Revi was able to move out of the way, but that does make it much harder for him to move into cash. Smoke grenade is going to scare away any incoming attackers from the west side, but it does mean you sort of have these players bunched up here at the top of red stairs and Canos kind of on his own in CCTV. All Electrify have to do is move one in and overwhelm, have done in previous rounds, and that could be the end for SCARZ.
Definitely could be, as Canis is missing some important shots right here. It's going to be Revi that gets down 11, that gets killed as well. It's currently a 2-1-4 situation. It seems to be going into favor of the actual likes of Electrify. It's only Canis left. Manages to pick up a double kill. Also has the down, but it's Electrify nonetheless that will win the round. Flashbangs kept on bouncing in. They kept on blinding him, and in the end, he was the only one left standing. Managed to take quite some people down, but it was Pikachu in the end that came from the back. Actually managed to put Electrify into a match point right here. Something they might not have considered after that first half gone the way it did. And all they need to do right now is just, well, nail one defense. That's all they need to do. One defense is all we're asking from you, Electrify. If you can go for Gym Bedroom, they will go for Gym Bedroom. The only one they didn't go for yet so far today. That's definitely going to be making you happy, doesn't it, Gio?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually pretty excited about that because I think it's not so much that I'm particularly in love with this site, but I think it represents the fact that they're trying to throw SCARZ off. They know they're so close to the victory on this map. And I mean, the story of this match on its own has been kind of crazy. Okay, here are this underdog team that we don't know much about and we're going to figure things out. Oh no, everything's going wrong for them, and this Korean champion team are just showing them up and making them look awful. Switch sides. Suddenly we're actually starting to see a different side to this underdog team. Maybe they do have some value that they can provide to this region. Suddenly you're in overtime and it looks like they are going to win things out. It's like the tortoise and the hare, right? You know, they've been slow and steady and actually it's worked out for them. They know that they're so close to the victory here, securing those first 3 points. They said, Hap, that they weren't feeling super confident about winning their first game, and they might actually be able to do that against a Pro League winning team. That's
10 seconds to
absolutely
go.
insane. And so the fact that they're coming to this site, which they evidently
5
haven't
seconds
felt
to go.
comfortable on because they didn't go to it when they were on their defense for the first half and
Attackers'
struggling,
objective is to locate
it
a
just
bomb and
suggests that
defuse
they're
it.
hoping that they can throw SCARZ off even more than SCARZ have been able to throw them off, because it's all they need is this one round and it's theirs.
All I'm going to be saying is that somehow Electrify didn't decide to bring anything to electrify these walls. Would have been maybe the good thing to do, to try and waste a little bit more time in the likes of the jacuzzi wall. As right now, Revy is just going to be able to open that freely. There's nothing there to completely, even counter that. Damage will be shooting maybe one of these charges. No, not even. Revy's just going to go straight for the opening, allowing SCARZ to get a little bit of a feel. A little bit of an advantage right there. That shield's easily going to be taken care of by the Kali, most likely anytime soon. Just a quick lance going in, and that will blow it out of the way. Already see him getting ready right here, peeking slowly but steadily. And as soon as that shield's going to be gone, it might be a big issue for the likes of Electrify, as they now miss the actual utility to try and challenge that jacuzzi wall that they basically gave away freely within the first 30 seconds of the round. But yeah, no one died yet. That's good news. Let's hope it stays that way for Electrify.
Oh, they're talking a bit too swiftly there, but it's not going to be Electrify that are experiencing a death. Instead, it's going to be Demic the first to fall. That's that all-important Kali. Those long angles aren't going to be able to be held. And, you know, if they were hoping to use her gadget anymore, I don't actually know if she had any left. But either way, that option has been taken off the board. That means Electrify, they're sitting here with the advantage in this situation as far as man count goes. And let's not discount the fact that they are using both a Mozzie and a Pulse. These are great operators for Intel, and they're going to be using it. Kano's the next to fall. Yas following him up. That leaves it in a 5 versus 2 situation. 11 has aced before. He could do it again, but without the support from his team, can make it very hard. 1 minute remaining. Revy isn't in a position where he can plan. He's certainly not now that the diffuser's gone down, as Ed brings him down to the floor. 11 is the last one standing. He's up against a full team. They were so close to being able to get the victory on here, but are they going to even be able to have that hope remaining anymore? Electrify lose 2 players to 11. They have 3 remaining. He's so low health. Is he going to be able to do it? There's no way he can get the diffuser right now. There's 30 seconds remaining. He's just creeping. He's got to be quiet. We've got 1 in logistics. We've got 1 in master, and we've got 1 by the jacuzzi wall. These are angles from 3 different directions. He is in a pretty dangerous position right now, and the odds are stacked against him. All Electrify need to do is get this kill. That's exactly what they're able to do. And they managed to turn things around in spectacular fashion and take the series. Hap, that was insane.
That might have been the best story that we've had today right here. Electrify basically, well, first of all, getting 3 consecutive flawless rounds to the start of the day, then losing 2 more, only getting 3 kills, crossed over those 2. Finally picking up that first round, and after that, they started living up. As soon as Triple Lift got that quad kill to start things up, they managed to actually, well, get it all together. They knew how the game worked suddenly, and they managed to actually get the kills in time and time again, get the rounds in to follow that up, and eventually push it all the way to overtime and take that final win. I think it's the best story that we've had here today, and well, I'm pretty sure you agree on that.
Yeah, you know, it was the story of the underdog who we knew nothing about, the dark horse, the enigma of the entire region, and they started off giving us not much hope, and they turned it around and they made it into something fantastic, and that's not only going to give them some confidence moving on, but it's going to give SCARZ something to think about. But I'm interested to know what it is the analysts think about this game. There's so much to break down about it, so guys, take it away.